Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office says a criminal court judge handed down an illegal verdict. The case involves a defendant charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. Paul Murphy reports that prosecutors want to know how a judge could find the defendant guilty of a lesser charge when they claim the charge doesn't even fit the crime.
34-year-old Brian Galathe is set to be sentenced tomorrow after a state judge in New Orleans found him guilty of illegally carrying a weapon, a misdemeanor. Yesterday, parish prosecutors tried Galathe on a more serious charge, being a felon in possession of a weapon. The charge stems from an April 2009 shooting in the 1900 block of 4th Street in Central City.
The judge came back with a verdict that's, in our opinion, an illegal verdict.
Assistant District Attorney Chris Bowman says Judge Ben Willard did not have the authority to find Galathe guilty of the lesser misdemeanor, since by law, he says it was not listed as a responsive verdict to the crime.
The judge has a choice. He can find him guilty. He can find him guilty of an attempt. He can find him not guilty. He does not have the option of finding him guilty of possession of a concealed weapon.
Court records indicate that Galathe has a lengthy arrest record, including a 2004 federal marijuana conviction in Texas. According to the DA's office, if Judge Willard determined he possessed the weapon and the evidence was clear that Galathe is a convicted felon, then prosecutors met their burden of proof.
He was guilty, and the judge blew the call on this one.
Judge Willard did not want to do an on-camera interview, but through a spokeswoman told Eyewitness News, the law, the testimony, and evidence presented in this case speak for themselves. He also says one of the arresting police officers originally stated that he saw Galathe fire the weapon, and that officer gave contradictory testimony during the trial.
It seems to be an unusual verdict by the judge. Perhaps the judge was concerned about the credibility of the police officer who testified, and that's why he reached the compromise verdict.
Legal analyst Chick Foray says it's unclear if the lesser verdict is allowed under the law.
Can a judge, whether it be in Orleans Parish or any other parish in the state of Louisiana, take a felony charge and find the defendant guilty of a misdemeanor where the facts don't fit? That's the question that needs to be answered. It appears that the judge is trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
The DA's office says this is just one example of a larger problem at Tulane and Broad.
Guns are tearing up our streets right now, and you have people asking, how is it that these felons are out on the street committing crimes? Well, this is one of the answers right here. This is an example.
On the lesser charge, Galathe now faces up to 6 months in jail. On the original charge, he faced a mandatory minimum of 10 years in prison. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News, Night Watch.
Brian Galathe is now scheduled to be sentenced by Judge Willard tomorrow morning. We'll get DA Leon Canizaro's reaction to this story when he appears on the Eyewitness Morning.